Shalom, shalom. Before I start, I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Yahweh Kakodash, Yahweh, which is the one true name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one true name is Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, who will well and teach well, because those are the men who I have learned this truth from, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to you sincere brothers that are scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity, and shalom to you sincere sisters that is listening in silence as the scriptures say to do so. I am your brother Mashiach Irazakah from the servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai Camp, Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And pretty much in this lesson, it's going to be titled as Adam and Eve did not bite an apple. It was the philosophies. Adam and Eve did not bite an apple. It was the philosophies. And we're going to prove that in this lesson. This is going to be a quick hit because, you have jakes that come into this truth and, they still have they're still indoctrinated in the ways of Christianity in the 501c3, where they'll read Genesis 3, start at verse 1 and read down to 6, and they'll assume that Adam and Eve took an apple and bit the apple. The serpent they say it was a snake, like an actual snake talking to Eve, and told Eve to bite an apple, and she bit an apple, and then she was just realized she was naked, and then all this other bugged out stuff. All right, so we're gonna break this down through the spirit, and Lord willing, is edifying to you that are new in the truth, trying to get this truth. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. This is Genesis 3 and 1, and we're going to read down to verse 6, all right? Genesis 3 and 1, it says, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord power had made. Now that serpent there, you have people, they'll read that there, and they'll say, see, the snake came onto Eve and beguiled her and started talking to her. It wasn't an actual snake. That serpent there was an actual man. And just for an example, when you can go on Google and look it up. When you look up serpent, it says a treacherous person. So when you don't trust a person is sly, and they do something behind your back, you call that guy a snake, right? You be like, that dude is a snake. I don't trust that guy. He's a snake. So that serpent there is actually talking about an actual person, because Adam and Eve were not the only two people around in that time. You had the sons of God, which were the Israelites. You had the sons of men, which were the other nations, and you had the sons of the wicked, which were the Edomites. So there was other nations there. Adam and Eve were not the only two people there. Okay, they had people there. We're going to prove that. There were other people there. So when you read about the serpent, that serpent was an actual person. And at that time, it was Esau. He had melanin in. But that serpent was an actual person, and that was Esau. Right? Let's read again. This is Genesis 3 and 1. It says, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord had made. You see that? Let's continue. And it says, And he said unto the woman, right? Yea, have Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree that are of the garden. And remember that word tree there, because this is where people get slipped up. They'll see tree and they'll think it's talking about an actual tree. But that tree there is talking about people. It's talking about actual people, right? And it says, verse 2, it says, this is Genesis 3 and 2, it says, And the woman said unto the serpent, right, unto that treacherous person, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Trees of the garden. So remember that word tree there. Okay, verse 3, it says, But of the fruit of the tree, there it is again. It tells you tree like 4 or 5 times, right? Let's read it again. It says, verse 3, it says, But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, Ye shall not eat of it. Right? It says, Neither shall ye touch it, right, lest ye die. Verse 4, it says, And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Right? Verse 5, For it says, For the Most High For the Most High doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. But this is the main point that I'm going to get to. I'm going to break it down. Verse 6, And when the woman saw that the tree, right, was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. It says, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And what was that they ate? It was, they took on the philosophies. It wasn't actual fruit, it was the philosophies. We're going to prove that. But first, I want to prove that word tree there. Because remember, when we read it, it said tree, trees, tree, trees, trees, tree. Right? Let's get Mark 8:24. This is Mark chapter 8:24, and then we're going to go back. But I'm going to make this slow as possible so Jace can understand, okay? Mark 8:24, right? And this is to prove that those trees there were referring to people. They're talking about actual people. This is Mark 8:24. It says, and he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. See, so those trees were referring to actual people. Those are people, that those trees that was mentioned in there. So you had other people there that was in that time, right? So she took on the philosophies, and then she gave it on to Adam. She gave on to Adam those philosophies, right? That's what that forbidden fruit is referring to. So now go back to Genesis 3:6, and then we're going to get that Hosea 10:13 out. Because once we get to Hosea 10:13, then people are going to be like, oh, okay, I see. See, this is why it's important to learn from the true men of the Lord, who are the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Because once you become acknowledging this truth, you're going to start understanding things. But the Lord got to give it to you to be able to understand it. Because you can't just read the Bible and just think you just know what you're reading. No. It has to be given to you through the Spirit. You have to. That's the only way you're going to be able to understand it. Genesis 3:6, it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food. So there you go. Those trees were actual people, right? That tree there was an actual person that beguiled Eve to take on that forbidden fruit, which was the philosophies. So it was people actually there. It says, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. How are you going to be wise? You can't. We eat apples today, and that's the thing. If Adam and Eve actually bit an apple, why are we eating apples today? Wouldn't that be off of the Mosaic law? It would say, thou shalt not eat an apple, thou shalt not eat a pear, thou shalt not eat a water. We wouldn't be able to eat fruit. It would be under the Mosaic law. It would be unlawful to eat fruit, which we eating fruit today. That wouldn't make no sense. So when you read the scriptures, you can't eat an apple. It's not going to make you wise, right? What's going to make you wise? Taking on different philosophies, different things, right? And the things that you think is wise is can bug you out. That's why it's called righteous fruit and unrighteous fruit, the forbidden fruit, because you don't want to take on something that can bug you out. You got Jakes that took on the forbidden fruit, which is false doctrines, philosophies. Those are forbidden fruits, right? Verse 6, it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, right, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. You see that? She took on the philosophies, and she took of the fruit thereof, the philosophies, right? And it says, and did eat, right? She took of it, the philosophies, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. They took on the philosophies, and we're going to prove that. This is, let's get out that Hosea. We're going to prove that it's talking about the philosophies here. It wasn't talking about no actual apple, no damn watermelon, no damn pear. It's talking about the actual, it's talking about the philosophies. This is Hosea 10:13. And it says, ye plowed wickedness. See, when you plow, what is plowing? When you plowing something, you're planting something, right? So when they plowed wickedness, they planted wickedness, which is what? Taking on a philosophy, a false, should I say, doctrine, right? When you take on, let's say you learn from Great Millstone, right? You learn from Great Millstone. Those are men you studying from. And then you watch a different Israelite group with a different doctrine. So let's say GMS, because GMS do teach that the MOTB, right, is the MOTB is the C-hip. And we all know that. That's the truth. But you go on and you take on you listen to a different Israelite group, and they say that the MOTB is spiritual. It's not a physical thing, it's spiritual. And you take on to that. So you go away from following Great Millstone, what they said about the MOTB, you take on to this and say, oh, this is spiritual, so I believe it's going to be spiritual. Now you plowed wickedness because you took on a false doctrine. You took on a lie. That's plowing something. So when you plow something, you're literally planting something. So Adam and Eve, they plowed wickedness. They took on the philosophies. They plowed wickedness. So when you read Hosea 10 and 13, I'm just using that as an example so people can get it. If you're following Great Millstone and you go away from their doctrine and you cleave on to a whole different Israelite group with a totally different doctrine that's outside of what Great Millstone teach, a whole totally different doctrine, you just plowed wickedness. I'm just giving that example because you took on a false doctrine, a philosophy, a false doctrine, right? Or let's say in general, you was in GMS or a follower of GMS, affiliate, and you go away from that and you go back into Christianity. Now you plow wickedness because you took on a philosophy, a false doctrine. That's the fruit. That's the forbidden fruit. I'm just giving an example so people can understand, right? So it says, this is Hosea 10 and 13. It says, ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity. You see that? Ye have eaten of the fruit of lies. So when you take on false doctrines, you taking on forbidden fruit. And you're plowing wickedness. You're planting wickedness. So when Adam and Eve, they took on, when they took on to that fruit of that serpent, it was the philosophies. They plowed wickedness. They plowed wickedness. Verse 13, it says, ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten of the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men. So they took on the philosophies. When you plow something, you're planting something. So when they took on that philosophy of the serpent, right, they plowed wickedness. So now we know that that's what that was. They took on the philosophies, the fruit of lies, right? Read that again. Hosea 10 and 13. It says, ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies. So it wasn't an apple that they ate. It wasn't a pear that they ate. It wasn't a watermelon. It wasn't a mango that they ate, right? What else can we think of? It wasn't no mandarin, right? It wasn't no orange. It wasn't no fruit, an actual fruit that they ate. It was the philosophies, the fruit of lies. They took on the philosophies. That's what caused them to go off. They took on the philosophies of the serpent. They took on the forbidden fruit, which was the fruit of lies, the philosophies. Right? Read that one more time. Hosea 10 and 13. Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou trusteth in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men. So they took on the philosophies. That's what caused them to go off. Right? They took on the fruit of lies. This is Galatians. Get out that Galatians. This is Galatians 6 and 7. So now you understand when you go into Genesis 3 and 6, and she took on the fruit thereof. She took on the fruit of lies, and she gave the fruit of lies onto Adam, and Adam took up the fruit of lies, the philosophies. They took on to that. That's what caused them to go off. That's what caused them to plow that wickedness. That's why the Lord told them not to eat of the fruit thereof, the forbidden fruit, which was those philosophies. Right? This is Galatians 6 and verse 7. This is Galatians 6 and verse 7. And it says, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. You see that? So whatever you sow, you reap it. Right? So they sowed wickedness. Now they reap what? Wickedness. Because they took on the fruit of lies. So they sowed wickedness. Now they reaping wickedness. Because they took on what? The fruit of lies. Right? The forbidden fruit. They took on those philosophies. Go to Job 4 and 8. This is Job 4 and 8. Let's get that. I got a precept. So now you should understand now that Adam and Eve, they took on the philosophies, the fruit of lies. And anybody can read that in Hosea 10 and 13. They took on the fruit of lies. The forbidden fruit was the fruit of lies, the philosophies, man. This is Job 4 and 8. Bear with me. This is Job chapter 4 and verse 8. It says, even as I have seen that they plow iniquity and sow wickedness, reap the same. So there you go. Adam and Eve, they took on the philosophies of the serpent, which that serpent was an actual person. And it was Esau that back then. He had melanin then. He beguiled Eve with the fruit of lies, the philosophies. And then she gave those fruit of lies, those philosophies, onto Adam. So when they plowed wickedness, they reaped wickedness. They reaped the same. They took on that philosophy, that wickedness. They plowed it. They planted it, right? They took on that wickedness, which was the fruit of lies, the philosophies. Okay. Matthew 7 and 16. We're almost done. Wrap this up with 2 more precepts, 3 more precepts, and we're gonna go back to Genesis 3 and 16, so we can sum this all up. Matthew 7 and 16. This is Matthew 7 and 16. It says, ye shall know them by their fruits. It says, do men gather grapes of thorns or fig trees of thistles? Right? Verse 17, even so every good tree, you see that? Every good tree, that we prove to you that when you go to Mark 8 and 24, that tree is referring to actual people, right? It says, even so every good tree bringeth good fruit. Every good tree bringeth good fruit. That tree there is referring to people. Just like today, in this present time today, we take on good fruit from a good tree, which the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, those are those men that's bearing righteous fruit, and we're taking on that righteous fruit, right? We learn from those men. Those men are bringing forth good fruit, and we're eating of the good fruit. We're not eating of the forbidden fruit. You got Israelite groups that have forbidden fruits that we ain't eating. We're only eating that good fruit. Every good tree bringeth good fruit. So we're taking on the good fruit. We're eating that good fruit, which is what this 100% truth, right? Which the elders teach, the 100% truth. We cleaving on to the righteous fruit. We're eating of that good fruit, right? So that's I'm just using that as an example for people that understand. So when you're studying from Great Millstone, you're taking of the good fruit. You're eating the good fruit. You're not eating the forbidden fruit. Now these other Israelite groups that's outside of Great Millstone that have a totally different doctrine, that's forbidden fruit. That's plowing wickedness. But the elders apostles of Great Millstone, they're not plowing wickedness. They're plowing righteousness, and we're eating of that good fruit. I'm just giving an example so people can understand, right? It says, but a corrupt tree bring forth evil fruit. And that corrupt tree, that's a actual person, people, right? So you got Israelite groups that, just for example, they teach corrupt fruit. Things that's going off, that's contrary to the scriptures, that's opposite to the scriptures. So this is why we say follow one camp, follow Great Millstone, because you're eating of the good fruit, the righteous fruit. But you got those trees out there, which are those other Israelite groups that teach corrupt fruit. I'm just giving that as an example, that teaches corrupt fruit. And if you plow that corrupt fruit, now you're taking on forbidden fruit, philosophies, false doctrines. Okay, so I'm just using that as an example there to edify those that are new. So this is why you should follow one camp. I highly recommend you to follow one camp. That's Great Millstone, because those men, they bring forth good fruit, righteous fruit. We learn from that. We eating of that fruit. We're eating of the righteous fruit, not the corrupt fruit, which is the forbidden fruit, which is the fruit of lies. We don't take on to that. We take on to this truth, right? Just using that as an example. Matthew 7 and 17. It says, even so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. And you see that. You see the good trees out there bringing forth good fruit. We even do that. We're those good trees bringing forth good fruit. The elders and apostles of Great Millstone, down to sincere brothers like ourselves, the affiliates, we're bringing forth good fruit, right? We're that tree giving forth good fruit. We're giving the righteous fruit, the fruit of truth, right? The fruit of truth. That's the best way to say it. We give the fruit of truth. Our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, the fruit of truth. But those other Israelite groups, they teach corrupt fruit, right? They do corrupt fruit, which is the fruit of lies, going off on scriptures, right? And it says, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Verse 18, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. You see that? A good tree. The elders and apostles of Great Millstone, they're a good tree because they bring forth good fruit, righteous fruit, the fruit of truth, right? Like I said before, it says neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. They can't. A corrupt tree, which is teaching false doctrines, philosophies. You got these 501c3 charters, 501c3 charter Christian churches, right? These craft law toddlers, TD Jakes, they bring forth corrupt fruit, the fruit of lies, as well as these other Israelite groups that's outside of Great Millstone with a different doctrine that's under the 501c3. Yes, there's Israelite groups that's under the 501c3. I'm using them as an example. They teach fruit of lies. They're corrupt trees. They're corrupt trees. So going back to Adam and Eve, they took on the fruit of lies. They took on the corrupt fruit, right? The fruit of lies, which was the philosophies. That's what caused them to go off, right? Every good tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Verse 20, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. You see, and we know them. The doctrines that people are teaching, we know them. And we know when the elders, starting from them, I'll just leave myself out of it because I'm an affiliate. But the elders, they know a person that's teaching corrupt fruit. They're going to know it off the bat. That individual's going off. And this person right here, that's why the scriptures say, mark them which cause division, because you got a lot of forbidden fruits that's out that these guys are doing, that these 501c3 charter Israelite groups are doing. This is why the elders of the Apostles of Great Millstone are marking them. They're telling the Israelites, hey, don't take on to this corrupt tree here. This is a corrupt tree. This is a corrupt fruit. Don't take on to this corrupt fruit. And who's doing it? The Lord is putting his spirit on the elders and the Apostles of Great Millstone to give you the warning. So going back to Adam and Eve, they took on the forbidden fruit, man. All right, they took on the forbidden fruit, which was the fruit of lies. And that tree there is referring to actual people, man. So let's go back. We're going to wrap this up because I ain't trying to make this longer than what it is. Genesis 3 and 6. So now, hopefully, people understand now, or you Jakes understand now, brothers and sisters understand now. Let's read from the top, and we're going to read down to verse 6. So now we understand that fruit there that they took on was the fruit of lies, not actual fruit. It wasn't no apple, no pear, no lemon that they ate, no orange. It was the fruit of lies, the philosophies. Okay? Genesis 3 and 1. Now the serpent, we know who the serpent is. A serpent is an actual person, not a snake, an actual person. In the scriptures, it says, now the serpent was born subtile than any beast of the field, which the Lord power had made. And he said unto the woman, ye have said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Verse 2, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit there. He said, we may eat. So it says, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the tree. We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, it says, the Most High have said, ye shall not eat of it. Right? Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Verse 5, for the Most High doeth not, it says, for the Most High doeth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Verse 6, and when the woman saw the tree, saw that person, right, with the philosophy of that wickedness. Verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, right, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to desire to make one wise, right, she took of the fruit thereof, the fruit of lies, right, and it says, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So there you go. They didn't bite an apple, they didn't bite a pear, they didn't bite a watermelon. They took on the philosophies. Okay, that's what Adam and Eve did. They took on the philosophy, the fruit of lies, and it plowed wickedness, and it caused them to go off. So Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give all honors and glories and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakudash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, because those are the men who I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. And shalom to you, sincere brothers scattered abroad, pushing forth this word in truth and sincerity. I am the brother Mashiach Arazakah from the Servants of Yahweh Yahweh Shai camp, a Las Vegas, Nevada branch. And Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to you, sincere brothers, and you sincere sisters that's listening in silence, as the scriptures say, do so. I'm your brother Mashiach Arazakah. And to the next one, I say shalom.